Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are plunging into a challenge so many people tell us they face. You know, that knot in your stomach, the racing heart, the moment your brain just goes completely blank when you need to speak English.
That fear and anxiety, it's huge.
It's incredibly common, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's something that can feel, paralyzing.
Yeah.
Even if you know the grammar, even if you have the vocabulary.
Right.
That fear of making a mistake or sounding awkward, maybe feeling embarrassed.
Yeah.
It can just totally lock you up.
Okay, so our mission in this deep dive is to really unpack that feeling. We've gathered a whole stack of sources, articles, research, real world advice. And we're going to pull out the most important insights, the really actionable strategies, everything you need to understand this fear, and maybe more importantly, start building your confidence to actually speak.
Think of these sources as our map. Yeah.
Exactly, our map for this exploration.
And, right away, what becomes really clear across all these different perspectives is, a core idea. The fear isn't actually about the English language itself.
Oh, okay, let's unpack that then. If it's not the language, what is it?
Well, it seems to boil down to the fear of mistakes. It's the worry about being judged, maybe laughed at, or just feeling embarrassed when you stumble or say something wrong.
Okay.
That anxiety is the real hurdle, not necessarily your level of English.
So the fear of imperfection, is that it?
Precisely. But here's the really important part that the sources emphasize again and again. This fear is completely normal.
Right.
You're absolutely not alone in feeling this way. And honestly, even native speakers make mistakes all the time.
That's true.
We trip over words. We use awkward phrasing sometimes. It just happens.
Which I guess leads to the first major takeaway we pulled out, which is confidence when speaking English isn't really about being perfect.
Exactly. The materials consistently show that confidence is built by speaking even when you're not perfect. It's less about flawless grammar, more about developing the right mindset and consistently putting yourself out there. Practice over just skill.
Practice and mindset. Okay, and that immediately brings us to the crucial role mindset plays. One source even put a number on it. It said confidence is something like 80% mental.
Yeah, 80% mental, only 20% skill.
Wow.
That's a huge percentage. And it means a big part of overcoming this fear is actively working on your internal state. The sources talk a lot about reprogramming your mindset.
Reprogramming. Okay, that sounds like a big job. What does that actually involve, day to day?
It's really about interrupting those negative thought loops. The ones, I'm not good at English. Instead, you consciously replace them with something more empowering. A simple affirmation that you suggested is, I'm getting better every day.
Okay.
And the idea is that saying this, even if you don't fully believe it at first, it starts to rewire your brain's perception.
So you're actively speaking the positive change you want to see into existence almost.
Yeah, kind of.
That makes sense. What else? Are there things we can do, physically, to influence our confidence?
Yeah, there's some fascinating techniques there. The classic fake it till you make it approach.
Right.
Not in the sense of pretending you're fluent when you're not, but using physical cues.
Yeah.
Like stand a little taller.
Okay.
Put a genuine smile on your face. That actually helps. And interestingly, try speaking about 20% louder than you normally would.
Louder, really?
Yeah. Your body language can actually signal confidence back to your brain and genuinely change how you feel inside.
That's a cool feedback loop, body influencing the brain. But okay, mistakes are going to happen, right? They're inevitable. How do we handle the actual mess ups when they occur?
The sources strongly advise just embracing the cringe. Really lean into it.
Embrace the cringe.
Yeah. The most effective approach seems to be to just laugh it off. If you say something weird or funny, acknowledge it. Maybe even say aloud, whoops, okay, that didn't come out right. Let me try again.
Okay.
It completely disarms the air,
What?
Takes away its power to make you feel bad or shut down.
I love that. Turning it into a moment of humor instead of shame. What about those specific negative thoughts that just pop up? The feeling that I sound stupid.
Yeah, that's a major mental block for so many people. A helpful counterpoint from the sources is remembering that truly everyone says things that sound silly sometimes, even native speakers.
True.
It's not unique to being a learner at all.
Okay. Or that other persistent worry. They'll laugh at me.
Right. And the reality is most people you'll interact with are actually supportive. They're usually just impressed that making the effort to speak a different language. They're not sitting there waiting to mock you. The sources really reassure us that genuine ridicule is, thankfully, quite rare.
Okay, good to know. And what about that classic procrastination thought, I'm just not ready yet?
Ah, yes. This might be the most important one to tackle. The sources are really clear on this. You will never feel 100% ready.
Never.
Never. Confidence is something you build by doing, not something you achieve before you start. The time start is, well, now.
Okay, so we're working on the mindset. We know readiness comes from actually doing. But where do you do the speaking practice without that intense pressure? You know, without being in a real conversation or a public situation?
Yeah, that's where this concept of safe practice zones comes in. It's absolutely key.
Yeah.
These are environments where you can build up that fluency without the fear of immediate judgment hanging over you.
Okay, tell us about some of these safe zones the sources recommended. What are they?
Oh, plenty of great ideas. A really simple one is just talking to yourself in English when you're alone.
Just talking to yourself.
Yeah. Narrate your actions, describe what's around you. Okay, now I'm making coffee. Zero audience, zero judgment.
I can definitely do that. What else?
Use a mirror, practice phrases, watch your facial expressions as you speak. One source had this funny idea about debating pizza toppings with your reflection.
Ha! Debating pizza with my reflection.
Sounds a bit silly, I know. But it helps you get comfortable seeing and hearing yourself speak English.
Okay, that's actually quite clever. What about recording myself? Is that helpful?
Absolutely. Record your voice, maybe even a short video. Just say a few sentences, maybe about your day or just how you feel about something simple, like, I love this song. The trick is, when you listen back, don't just hunt for flaws. Try to notice your progress. You'll often find you sound better than your inner critic tells you.
That's a powerful way to use that tool. Focus on progress, not perfection. Okay, what about actually training your voice to sound more, natural, more fluid?
Right, that's where shadowing comes in. This is a great technique. You play some English audio, could be a podcast like this one, a YouTube video, a movie clip, and you repeat the sentences right after the speaker. Try to mimic their rhythm, their intonation. You can even pick a confident speaker you admire, maybe a YouTuber or a movie character, and try to sound like them. It really trains your mouth muscles and helps with the flow of speech.
Shadowing. Yeah, that's such a solid technique. And what about digital spaces? Anything there?
Oh, definitely. Talking to AI is a fantastic zero judgment option these days. Apps like ChatGPT or Replica let you have conversational practice without any social pressure whatsoever.
Right, no fear of looking silly in front of a bot.
Exactly. Make all the mistakes you want. The AI doesn't care. It just removes a huge barrier for a lot of people.
Totally. And if you want to practice with another human but still keep it pretty low stakes?
Role-playing with a friend is perfect for that. Or using language exchange apps, things like Tandem.
Okay.
Practice simple scenarios, ordering coffee, asking for directions, just making small talk about the weather. It builds courage in a controlled setting before you really need it out in the wild.
These all sound like really essential warm-ups, like exercises for building that speaking confidence muscle.
That's exactly what they are. They build fluency and comfort in a low-risk environment.
Now, a major concern for many learners, I think, is not having enough vocabulary. Do you really need to know, thousands of words to speak confidently?
The sources push back on that really hard. They emphasize that you absolutely do not need fancy words. Simple language is incredibly powerful.
Simple is powerful. I really like that framing.
Yeah, it gets the job done beautifully.
So what are some examples of those simple, high-impact phrases they mentioned?
Well, the essentials, really. Communication tools like, can you help me?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Can you repeat that?
The basics.
Exactly. The advice is generally to focus on speaking less, maybe, but speaking clearly and speaking often, rather than trying to bust out complex sentences all the time.
Speaking clearly definitely helps when you're nervous, but what about those moments when you just completely freeze up? Mid-conversation, that's the nightmare scenario.
It is. That's the core fear, right? And the sources offer a really smart strategy here. Have some go-to phrases ready for those exact moments.
Like what?
Things like, could you repeat that, please? Or even just a simple, honest, oh, sorry, I'm still learning.
How does that help right then in the moment?
Well, first, it buys you precious time to think. Second, it shows the other person you're trying and being honest about where you are.
Right.
And third, it instantly takes the pressure off yourself. Most people really appreciate that honesty and effort. It earns respect, actually.
That's incredibly practical advice. Okay, so We've understood the fear, we've worked on the mindset, practiced in our safe zones, got our simple language and maybe some panic phrases ready. How do we actually make the leap? How do we start speaking with others in the real world?
This is where the principle of small wins build big confidence is just crucial.
Small wins.
Yeah. You don't need to aim for giving a TED Talk tomorrow. You start small, celebrate every little victory, and those small steps accumulate over time into significant confidence.
Okay, give us some examples of these small wins from the sources. What can people actually do?
Well, one interesting technique is the 3-second rule.
The 3-second rule.
Yeah. When it's your turn to speak in a conversation or you have an opportunity, you silently count 3, 2, 1, G, go, and just start talking before your brain has time to overthink and freeze you up.
Just push past the hesitation. I like that.
Exactly. Short circuits the anxiety. And then there's the just one sentence trick.
Okay.
Commit to saying just one English sentence every single day to someone. Anyone. Could be a friend, a colleague.
What?
The sources even say your pet counts.
Talking to my cat is back on the agenda then.
Hey, whatever works. The point is to make speaking a daily, non-negotiable habit, no matter how small it feels.
Okay. What about interacting with strangers? That feels like a bigger step.
It does, but the sources suggest starting really small there too. Like speak to one stranger, maybe the cashier at a store.
Just say hello.
Just say, hello, how are you? And understand the reply. Or maybe ask for the price of something. And then this is key, actually acknowledge that you did it. Celebrate that win.
Right. High five yourself for ordering coffee successfully in English.
Exactly. And beyond that, you can look for online English speaking groups, platforms like Meetup or Conversation Exchange, or using apps like HelloTalk to chat with other learners or native speakers. These tend to be lower pressure environments than, say, giving a work presentation.
That makes sense. What about the idea of posting a short video of yourself? That sounds terrifying to some.
It can be.
Yeah.
But it's another suggested small step. Even just posting a quick video saying, hi, my name is your name. I'm learning English. It's about putting yourself out there in a controlled way, and it builds courage over time.
So all these little actions, they're really about building that confidence muscle we talked about earlier.
They absolutely are. Every single time you successfully speak, even just one sentence, that muscle gets a tiny bit stronger. One source even laid out a sort of 7-day confidence challenge.
Oh, interesting. What did that involve?
Specific little tasks for each day, like day 1, 2, say hello plus one sentence to a stranger. Day 3, 4, record a 30-second voice note about your day. Day 5, 6, join an online chat group for 10 minutes. Day 7, maybe teach a friend one English word you learned.
Framing it like that as a simple challenge with steps makes it feel very achievable, doesn't it?
And that's exactly the point. The sources are unanimous on this. Confidence doesn't just arrive fully formed one day. It is built step by step, one sentence at a time, one successful interaction at a time.
So, okay, to wrap up what we've really pulled from all these sources, the big message is you do not need perfect English to speak.
Not at all.
What you need is daily practice. You need to work on letting go of that fear of mistakes. And crucially, you simply need to start.
Confidence isn't something you wait for permission to feel, is it? It's something you actively construct, block by block, word by word.
Be brave enough to speak imperfectly. Speak broken English if that's what comes out first. You can fix it as you go. But I think the most powerful message, the one that came through loudest across all the material we looked at, is this. Do not stay silent.
Absolutely. Because every single fluent speaker you've ever heard, every single one, was once a beginner. They just refused to let their fear keep them quiet.
So considering that every fluent speaker was once a beginner who refused to stay silent, what chapter of your own English speaking story will you start writing today?